Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Shelly from Crafty Cottage Dreams. How are you doing? Today I would like to present my Angie inspired journal. I'm so inspired by her work. She's absolutely tremendously talented, and I enjoy so much watching all the goodies she sends to these ladies, and I get a lot of inspiration from her, and I've been wanting to create an Angie inspired journal for some time now, and yeah, so I just did it. So it is filled with vintage ledgers, French ephemera, French documentation, French book pages. We have some French antique laces, and it's just filled with a bunch of goodies. I did use Ruby and Pearl. I did use a lot of her vintage photos in this journal, along with, I think I might have used some, I definitely used SamPoole stamps. I just can't get enough of her stamps, and I really need to purchase her second set there. And yeah, just Battenberg laces, vintage laces. Yeah, so how about we just dive right in and get started. She does, she is quite large. She is 12 inches in length and 6.5 inches in width. And she is a chunky monkey, and I finished her up today, and I really hope I'm in focus because she is a little longer, a little bigger than what I normally do. So yeah, and I used a vintage earring clip here. So I'm going to take this right off, and this is just, and I still have glue all over my hands, a vintage earring clip, and I do have sari silk, because I just love using sari silk, and it unwraps like so. There's a lot of it here, and then I just have it hooked to this thingy there, so that is kind of attached because it just wraps around the journal. And my front cover is just this, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I believe I got it in one of Doreen's kits. Doreen over at Ooh La La Vintage Treasures. And I'm not sure what it is, but I used it as my front cover because I loved the way it was shaped. And I absolutely loved the layering, that you're able to view all the layering of these beautiful antique and vintage papers along with the laces. I just loved that effect, and yeah. So here is the front cover, and this is Ruby and Pearls, and I backed it behind some French book page there, and it is cotton rag paper. I added some vintage crocheted lace here and a rusty pin, and I added some bling here. And on the side here we have some vintage lace, and on the back we also have that vintage, the other vintage earring, which you'll see once we get to the end of the journal what that's clipped on. And I use some vintage ledger paper on the back here. So let's open it right up. And here I just did some collaging using Ruby and Pearl's vintage photo. We have some book page here and some vintage ledger, and I did back this with some vintage wallpaper. Hopefully you guys can see well. I'm gonna leave it laying down because it is a little on the larger side. And it is nighttime here. It took me a good portion of my day to finish this up. So we have a vintage doily here. And this is a French book. I don't think this one's a French book page. No, it's not. But I love the patina of it. And I just used SamPoole stamp here on the bottom. And then we have an old page here from, it is in French, but it's a Journal de, I don't know. But I just thought it was absolutely, I got a bunch of, from Sacred Mementos when I ordered from her some time ago, these magazine pages, and that's what that's from. And maybe if I can, well, let me see if I, sorry, if I can grab that. I just didn't want to make this video too long. They are buried because I did put everything away. I don't know, it's from an old, like an old McCall's magazine. I don't think this one's from it, but anywho, it is old. I love it. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And then I just add some German tape down here. And then here we have an old letter of sorts. And all I did was just, I added some sari silk on the top here. There's a little clip here with some sari silk. I just added some old vintage music paper that you can, I don't know, leave as is or use it in any of your collages. And here we have a glassine bag, tea stained, with this vintage Battenberg. I added a little ruffle here with some rhinestone and just did some collaging with vintage wallpaper and a French book page. And on the inside, I just have a French book page with that vintage wallpaper and just a little polka dot trim there. Last time I did a video, I think it was last week, it literally took a little over 24 hours to upload. So I'm going to try not to make this video as long. I don't know if it was because the video was so long. I'm not entirely sure. And we have some vintage ledger here, and then we have some of that Battenberg trim here on the side. I want to make sure you guys can see well. And here is that. It's Journal des, like, de Mademoiselles. I don't know. But it is old. It's, that was from this, where is it? This too, and it's dated from 1889. And it's very fragile, guys. Very fragile, but I loved it. And then we just have a book page here. I just loved the patina of it. And here we have the theater contemporary illustration. It is in French. Let's see if I can see. I just loved the image. Not really sure, guys, but it's beautiful. Then here I just have a glassine. It's just a paper, glassine paper. What are those bags called? It's not coming to me. But I just did a collage here with a French book page. And then we have Ruby and Pearl's image here of these ladies, which is, I love it. And then I used that old ledger and stamped 1904 on there, SamPoole stamps. There's that vintage wallpaper, some vintage lace, and a rhinestone. So on the inside of this bag, we just have, a clip here with some vintage lace. Here's that Battenberg, and we just have this beautiful image. And it's backed with some vintage ledger, and I just dated it. And here I added some vintage wallpaper, and then we have this cotton rag French page here, which is beautiful. I love it. That just clips right on there and sits right in the bag. And I do have it clipped to the bag. And on the back here, I just added that vintage ledger paper. I added some vintage lace with a little pin there, safety pin. And here is from that conservative illustration. Love that image. It's French. And here I just did a little flip out. I added some German tape, and we have Ruby and Pearl's beautiful image with that cotton rag French paper. And I just used SamPoole stamp here and added that vintage Battenberg. And then this flips over, and I just did a little collage here with the German tape, Ruby and Pearl image, SamPoole stamp here on the side, and that vintage ledger. And then that flips out. And then I just have that vintage wallpaper here, some music paper. Here's that glassine tea stained bag. I just did a little bit of collaging. We have some old avocado dyed crocheted lace. I have a safety pin here, a rusted safety pin, SamPoole stamp, and that cotton rag paper. And on the inside, I just added a cotton rag French book page. And that just clips on here. And then here I just made a pocket on this page with that French, use your word, Shelly, French book page, some German tape, Heather's beautiful image here. And let's see if I can bring that a little closer. And then on the inside, I just created this ephemera using the images from Ruby and Pearl, SamPoole stamps, and it is on back with some French book pages, and that just tucks right in there. Husband and wife. And that flips back over. I feel like I have to be very careful because everything is so like old and fragile. I used, here we have a vintage music page, and I added some German tape. And here we have this beautiful French lace that comes from France on the top here, and it still has that, its ticket there. You can see. We have an old French book page, some vintage ledger, some more. I love the patinas of all the French book pages, so I tried to use a variety of different shades. And then here I made a pocket using some vintage lace. And here's some vintage music paper. And then I just made a little collage booklet of sorts with nothing in it. I figured this could be used as your secret spot of journaling on the inside and make it your own. Use SamPoole stamp here, Ruby and Pearl image, vintage lace with a rusted safety pin. And then we have a beautiful avocado dyed doily, some stamping with that vintage ticket, and that just sits right in there. Love music paper. I love these images. And then over here we have some vintage ledger, but tucked inside here, I just have this beautiful piece of paper here, and this with this image. And then I just created this ephemera and backed it with that French book page. And that tucks right in there. Actually, I'm going to leave that right out because on the other side, I just have a tea-stained glassine bag with some, I have this clipped, actually it's a Tim Holtz mini clip with some vintage lace. And then we have this glassine tea-stained bag, and on the inside, we have this vintage postcard. Just want to make sure I put everything back. And this tucks right in there. Clips right on there. And we have an old letter here. This is dated, I'm not sure if it's exactly a letter, but it is dated 3/22/06. I just added some sari silk on the top there. We have some vintage ledger. And then I love, 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 and that is from that magazine as well. I love the images. I just added some lace. Cluster of beautiful lace here on the top. I hope you guys can see well enough. And then on the other side, what I do have tucked in here is an old French document. It's old. I better take this paper clip off. Here we go. Paper clip. And this, here's that beautiful image. I just love it so much. And that just, here's the other side. And that's just the flip. And here we have this beautiful, beautiful French document. I just love, love, love. I believe it's February 25th of 1867, I believe. So it's very old. I think, how did I have this? Yeah. And then I clipped it on the little mini clip here. And some sari silk right on the top. There we go. So pretty. And this is really fragile, guys, and it's old. Let's see. Switch it around. I just think it's beautiful. And here is that other. I love these so, so much. And then we have some Battenberg here. And then here we have just a little ephemera with a French book page using Heather over at Ruby&Pearlxo image. Isn't she a cutie pie? And then we also have a French book page. And I'm just gonna, and then over here we have some vintage lace and a Tim Holtz mini clip there. And here is that page from that journal, Des Moselles, I don't know, but it is old. It's July 18, here, let's take this clip off. And that flips out, July of 1892. It's beautiful. And that flips out, and on the inside here we have another old French document. It's written on the side as well. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. And then here I just made a little scrappy pad. I used some old sewing pattern here, and I just stapled it. We have some vintage ledger, and I forgot what this paper is called. Grid paper, maybe. It is avocado dyed. Vintage ledger. Just a little scrappy pad you can journal on, take notes. This is grid paper. Forgot what the other one is. I think it's ledger. Is this ledger? I don't know. Here's the back. And that just sits right in there. And this tucks right in here. And then it is clipped. just love how it pokes out like that. And then this just clips back into there. So pretty. And then here I have in very old, this is just some coffee dyed paper. And then here we have this old, let's see if it's a date. I don't know, but I think there may be, it's a very old envelope. I love it. And on the inside, there may be a date in here. So old and fragile. Let's see. It's like some sort of a letter of, oh yes, here's the date, July 1889. So it is a letter in French. And that sits right in there. You can certainly journal here. And that clips using a little mini clip. And then here I created using the vintage crochet lace here. And we have 2 pockets in each side, and I just added this vintage music paper, French music paper. And then we have this old French book page. It is written on this side and on the bottom there. And then I added this beautiful image. And here is my binding I did with sari silk that matches the outer seam binding for the journal. It's tied in a bow. And then here I added, on this pocket, I added the vintage wallpaper. We have a French cotton rag book page. And then we have these old vintage receipts of some sort. They are all together. So pretty. And that just tucks right in there. And then we flip over to this side. You can certainly journal here in the back. We have another French. I love the envelope. It's beautiful. And on the inside, this is dated 1883. It tucks right in there. And then it just clips right to that page. And on this side, we just have a little tuck. We have some vintage lace with a little mini clip, and I just added this adorable image and backed it with a French book page. And inside here, we have a letter. This one is dated 1931. And just a letter. tucks right in there. So I'll just set that aside for right now. And then, yep, so that'll, I just wanted to show you this. So I'm going to unclip that. And that is that beautiful, these ladies are gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Where am I at time? 30 minutes. So, and that's just a little flip. But on the other side, here's that other side here. I'm going to flip that out so you guys can see. So pretty. But on the other side, we have this old document here. It's gorgeous. It is 1871, date right here. And it's got an emblem of some sort on the back, like an embossing. I do not know if you can see that or not, but it's, just love it. It's gorgeous. And let me see if I can get this how I had it. How did I have this? I think, yes, like this. And then my clip. That is just clipped on like that. And then this tucks inside there. And this little ephemera card. I love that little girl with the dog. There we go. There's that beautiful document. And here is this beautiful page. And this old page. And then we have another little tuck here. I did a lot of tucks, so I want to make sure I put them back the right way. We have some vintage lace here on a mini clip. First and foremost, we have this beautiful, beautiful French document. Look at that. It's just so stunning. Here's the back. I wish I knew what it said. And then here we have another little scrappy pad. Using that, I just stapled it right on there. I just love the way that looked all ruffled up on the top there. That pattern. We have some vintage ledger. I believe this is ledger too. It's just coffee stained, avocado dyed as well. It has a great patina on it. That vintage ledger. Good paper. So it's something to journal on. And then here on the inside, we have a flip here. I just love this. This is from that magazine from 18. It's just, I love the Journal des Mademoiselles. It is very old. It's like patterns of some sort. Here's the other side. I love, love, love these images. Aren't they beautiful? but that serves as a flip out. And on the inside of there, we have this. And here's the back side. I believe it's from an old book of sorts. Mr. Pip has been enlarging his acquaintance. His new friends become so flattering in their manner that his French is not equal to the occasion. And on the other side, while in Paris, Mr. Pip, just after dinner, steps out for a few moments with a chance acquaintance. I just love that. And that tucks right in there. And this also tucks right in there and peeks right out. I love that. And this document just clips right on there. And then we'll just clip it here. Love it. And here's the other side. Love it. Vintage ledger. This is that old letter. Some sort of, I'm not entirely sure, but it's in French. I added some sari silk on the top here. I hope I'm in focus. Some vintage ledger with that Battenberg. I love it. I added some German tape here on the bottom. We have a French book page with some images. Here we have some vintage music paper. And here is this French lace that comes from France. It is an avocado dyed blushy pink. It's absolutely stunning. And I just added some vintage ledger right there. I love the patina of all these book pages. Look at how just gorgeous. And here we have a little clip with some lace. And then here we have another letter. I just added some vintage lace, and that is just a Tim Holtz safety clip. And here we have a letter. Dearest Dorothy, love Sammy. This is not in French, it is in English. So whoever is the proud owner of this journal can rummage through there and read it. And that just clips right there. And on the other side, here's the other side of that vintage ledger. I just have a little ephemera card on some handmade paper. This beautiful image. And I just stamped in the back using SamPoole stamp. I love the paper. And here we have another music page with some German tape here and this beautiful French lace. This book is kind of heavy. It's so beautiful. In here, I just did a little stenciling. I love that book page. Some French. And here we have the other side of that paper bag. It's like a glassine paper bag. I just did a little collaging using some crocheted lace here, that vintage wallpaper, Heather's beautiful image, French book page, and antique ledger here, 1935. And on the inside of here, I just added an assortment of papers, French papers, and antique ledger. Just a little scrappy thing you can play around with. This is not in French, but I loved the patina of it. I stamped using SamPoole stamps. We have a little Brad here, Tim Holtz Brad. Here's some scrap remnants of that vintage ledger to play around with. And then we have some old, like, not really parchment, not really tissue either. Not entirely sure. And then we have that vintage wallpaper. And then we have appendix to the Congregational. It is quite large. And then we have this paper's, I love this paper. So just a little scrappy pad of assortment of goodies that you can play around with. And that tucks right in here. And here's the other side. It's that beautiful image. This beautiful French book page. Oh, this one is so old. It's very fragile, guys. It's from the Journal de Madame, I can't even speak it. Mademoiselle. Here we have some vintage ledger, and then we have this beautiful, it's just clipped on with some beautiful lace. We have a glassine envelope here, avocado dyed, and then we have this beautiful, I forget what, I think these are calling cards. It just sits right inside this glassine bag. And I have it upside down. Kind of peeks through there. And this just tucks here like that. And it just clips right on there. Oh. And then here we have that handmade paper, and then I just for you guys to play around with, and that vintage wallpaper. And that just tucks right in there. French book page. Here's the other side of that letter. Some sari silk right up here. I'll take a sip of my coffee. And then here we have this French book page. I did make a little side tuck. And I added this beautiful lace bow here on the corner. And it is clipped with some lace. I added some German tape. And then hopefully you guys can still see. And then on the inside of here, I just added a bunch of goodies. It does have a little Tim Holtz brad right up here. This is that cotton rag French paper. I did use that beautiful image from Heather's shop there. And then on the inside, we have some more of that vintage wallpaper. And there is 2 pages of this. It's so fragile. Cotton rag French paper. And then we have some scraps of that vintage ledger you can play around with that I kind of just had left over. Wanted to share with you. And that just tucks right in there. And then this is clipped. That lace. Sorry, guys. There we go. That page from the Mademoiselle magazine. And then finally, we are at the back. And we have this beautiful vintage napkin that I just, well, first off, I have some of that vintage wallpaper here in the back. And some vintage ledger. And then we have this beautiful napkin that I just clipped. That clips on with that vintage earring on the back. She is a chunky monkey. So that is the back, and then here's that back with that vintage earring. So here she is, guys. I hope you love her. I had so much fun, and I really hope I did Angie justice. I mean, I really had so much fun, and I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and I really, I don't even know if she knows me. She probably doesn't. But if she ever, like, watches this video, I hope that, she enjoyed it, and I hope that, this is all knotted up. There we go. And I really hope that, I don't know, that did I do this the wrong way? Yeah, I did. And I really hope that she loved it, and that she knows how much of an inspiration she is to so many people. It's amazing what she does and gifts out. She's so very generous and good-hearted, and I wish I knew her. I would be, like, so honored to receive something of hers. But this was definitely, here's that vintage clip, and that just clips right on there like so. And I love it. I just love how everything peeks out like that. And I just had so much fun creating this, and I just couldn't stop. Like, I probably went a little overboard. More than, well, I don't know. But I love it, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. She will be listed in my Etsy shop as soon as this video uploads. Hopefully it does not take well over a day to upload. I'm really hoping. But I really hope you guys love this video. Until next time, much love and hugs, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.